Today, we'll bring you another installment from this season's ultimate riding tour of the Catskill Mountains, as Norm and I wind up our journey along Route 12 just south of Watertown, New York.
For a motorcyclist, this has just been an incredible area to ride in.
And speaking of ultimate rides, later on in the show, we'll step into the time capsule as we look at one of the last big motorcycles to be developed and sold by the Triumph Motorcycle Company, the BSA A75 Rocket 3.
When they introduced the three-cylinder motorcycles, the performance was so much superior to the twin-cylinder.
Then we'll head out to the west coast, to Duncan, BC on Vancouver Island, to catch up with our rookie adventure rider Matt Fletcher, as he gets another valuable lesson in the art of U-turns.
What we're going to do is we're going to drive up onto the bank, and we're going to come back down again. And we're going to do that till we get ourselves going the way we want.
Plus, over in our contest corner, Kylie will give us our final clue in our scooter contest giveaway. All this and more as TSN presents Motorcycle Experience. Hello and welcome to Motorcycle Experience, the voice of motorcyclists everywhere. I'm Dave Hatch, and this week we're kicking off our show by sampling an all-new maxi scooter from the folks at BMW Motorrad, the C600 Sport. This season on Motorcycle Experience, it seems like dual sport bikes and maxi scooters are all the rage. And BMW Motorrad's new C600 Sport certainly helps to throw a little fuel on the fire. At the heart of this puppy is a super smooth 650cc liquid-cooled, fuel-injected inline twin, mated to a fully automatic twist-and-go CVT transmission. This C600 Sport has an impressive power to lightweight ratio, thanks in part to its aluminum die-cast frame and single-sided swing arm, mounted up with 15-inch aluminum cast wheels. The spec sheet also gets maxed out thanks to the beefy 40mm inverted fork and the dual 270 discs that sport standard ABS stopping power. That's pretty impressive DNA on paper, but how does the C600 work out on the open road? Well, here's longtime viewer and first-time maxi scooter rider, Ellen Foster, with her full-on impression. Well, Ellen, we kind of threw a curveball at you this morning. You showed up all set to ride that V-Strom 650, and instead we said, scooter, 600cc sports scooter, that's what you want today.
Gee, thanks, Dave. I was really looking forward to this, you know, the
adventure bike,
the
yes.
adventure bike, the Wee-Strom. But anyways, this was pretty good. It's not your father's scooter anymore. So in that regards, it's like, okay, let's give it a shot. Never really been on a scooter before. So BMW's done a nice job on it. It really has.
Yeah, I know you're a die-hard adventure, standard rider, and I thought, let's just try somebody who's never been on something like this. So 600 cc's, twin cylinder motor, what did you think of the power?
Actually, it's good power. It's only got 60 horse, but the torque. I'm not sure what the torque is on it, the numbers are, but when you go to pull out or give it, I was going to say go through the gears, but you don't go through the gears on this because it's fully automatic transmission with the CVT.
Yep.
Don't ask me to explain it, I can't, but it's full automatic transmission, and that actually makes it quite nice. It's totally different, but the torque, you do get in situations where you have to pull or pass, or you're pulling onto someone and someone's coming up behind you in a hurry. I prefer the torque over the horsepower myself.
Stopping is also a little different. You mentioned there's no gears, there's no clutch, there's no shifting, but stopping is also different. You've got a right brake for the front, you've got a left brake for the rear. How did you find the stopping power?
Well, because I am the old, traditional motorcycle, I was still using the right brake and my two fingers on like I always do when I'm riding. I'm so used to this being a clutch. I tried to keep my hand off it as much as possible because I was afraid of putting myself over the windshield when you grab a fistful of what you think is clutch and get me up off the seat. And we were all on paved roads today. We really weren't on any dirt or gravel where I could try out the ABS. It does have the ABS on it. It flashes at you every time you start it up. You know you've got ABS. But I didn't have an opportunity to try that.
So it's easy to maneuver and get around. It feels, to me, I was amazed at how sort of small and light it felt for a 600.
Well, and I think it's like almost 550 pounds, 549 or something, with full fluids and everything. It is very nimble. I was just kind of fun in and out. If there was pylons, pretending, back and forth, just seeing how nimble it was. It handled very well. I was surprised. Also because the weight is all below you.
Scooters, it's always important to have a lot of storage. And how do you like this?
It's neat the way it just pops up like that.
Yeah.
Now I had to have someone show me because originally I thought, ooh, there's not a lot of room in there. Where do you put your second helmet? And then it was shown to me there's a button here that you can push, and then this, there. See how that released? That just pops right on down, and that is so you can have the driver can have the main helmet, and then your passenger or whatever.
That's clever.
It is, and I was told that there's a safety mechanism in here, like a dead man switch. You cannot start the bike or pull away with that down.
Nice.
Which, if you look at the clearance of the wheel, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't try that out. But I was told that there's a dead man switch in there. So if you were traveling with a passenger, you actually have about half that room you could fill in for overnight, whatever, couple of nights, and then still pop your own helmet in.
Now, this is fully automatic. You've got no clutch, no gears. Viewers at home are going to say, well, how do you leave it parked without it rolling and moving around if you can't leave it in gear? You know what I mean?
I had the same problem because we were waiting for you, and we're waiting for you to join us. So our 4 bikes are all parked up on kind of enough of an incline. When you put the side stand down, the brakes activate automatically.
That's so cool. So here it is, just in its normal resting mode, and it's rolling around, right? That could mean trouble.
Well, that's what I thought.
But look at that. You put that down, and
they automatically
it's got a brake.
Yes.
Yeah, parking brake.
I hadn't.
Clever.
It was very clever. I thought that because, like I said, many occasions I would normally leave a standard bike in gear. Yeah. Because just enough of an incline, you want to come back and not seeing it slightly rolled or on its side or something.
So, was there anything you didn't like about the bike?
No, I wouldn't say wouldn't dislike it, but I don't think it would be a bike I would take to Vancouver.
Right.
I think it's great fabulous for in cities, in town, weekend excursions and all that. It was fun, but I don't think, a weekend getaway is about the size of
maybe the cottage, something like that.
Exactly.
Right.
But all in all, I thought it was a fun bike. It was a lot more fun than I was expecting from the scooter.
Yeah.
It's not your father's scooter anymore, and so I think most people would be new riders, particularly because you don't have to worry about the the gears with the automatic transmission. Yeah. And knowing that there's brakes now when you put the side stand down. But in the city, around commuting, not even in the city, commuting into the country. I live in the country, going into the city to work. You know that it's with the wind protection particularly.
Thumbs up.
I think so. Yes, 2 thumbs up. I would agree. It was a fun little bike. Scooter,
bike, scooter. Something.
Yes.
It's a sport machine.
It's a sport machine.
Nice job.
Thank you, Dave. It's a pleasure as always.
Good stuff.
Up next, 3-time Dakar competitor Don Hatton shows us how to get out of a jam when you have to make a U-turn riding down a very narrow trail. Stay with us. Portions of Motorcycle Experience are brought to you in part by Honda Canada, BMW Motorrad, and Triumph Motorcycle. Closed captioning of Motorcycle Experience is brought to you by Motovan.
Welcome back. It's TSN Presents the Experience. I'm Dave Hatch, and it's time now to catch up with our rookie adventure rider, Matt Fletcher. This week he's getting a lesson in how to make a U-turn
in a very tight space.
Okay, Matt, so we've just learned how to turn around on a logging road when you hit a dead end. But now you've got a situation where the road's got narrower and narrower and narrower, and you want to go back the way you came. And again, it's very hard to turn one of these big bikes around. It's very important you learn this, particularly when you're in a trail.
Okay.
But even on the roads, you need to, you notice I've got 1 foot down and 1 foot up.
Yep.
That's really important, especially on these big bikes and especially when they're loaded. So it doesn't matter what side you put your foot down on. It's just, you got to get in the habit of putting 1 foot down.
Oh, okay.
And the reason for that is, especially when you're riding off-road, you get potholes. Like even here, it's not level.
Right.
So I do the old-fashioned method, put 2 feet down, and I go to put my foot down, I lean this way, I lean this way, I lean this way, and I lean this way, and realize that there's a hole there. Only my other leg is hanging over here, so I cannot recover.
Right. Okay.
So get in the habit of putting 1 leg down.
All right.
And now if I get into a hole, the bike can go way over. I can control this bike a long way down.
Yeah.
So, and when you got weight in there, you're really going to notice that. So now getting back to this lesson.
Okay.
So we want to get the bike turned around. I want to go back the way I was going. The trail's very narrow.
Right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to drive up onto the bank and we're going to come back down again. And we're going to do that till we get ourselves going the way we want.
Oh, okay.
Now this is where that lesson about the leg down is really important. So you better make sure that you've made up your mind what leg's going down and you don't decide halfway through to put the other one down.
Okay.
Point number 1. So Grasshopper, have you burned this in your brain? 1 leg down.
Yes, yes.
Okay, point number 2, what you need to burn into your brain. You will only have, your leg is only so long. So you need to make sure you make that decision how long your leg is before you run up that bank and stop. Because if you go too far up that bank, you're gonna have this much space between your foot and the ground, and it's your long foot.
Yeah.
So be careful.
Okay.
So make your decision here.
Yep.
I like to use this leg because I like to have my brake foot available to operate the brake.
Okay.
So we're gonna go up the bank, and we're gonna turn up here, and you don't want to do any of this stuff fast. So we come back down, fingers on the brake, clutches in. I'm coming down. I've got my foot down, my good foot, 1 leg down, the other one's up. You can see what happened if I tried to put this one down. Whoa, whoa, whoa! I don't know what I'm doing. So I got this foot down. I come down. I go back up. I come down.
Yeah.
I go back up. I come down. Very much like coming down the hill. So we're going back and forth. Whoop. Hit a rock there. Now I exaggerated that a little bit because again, as soon as this foot went down, this one came up.
Okay.
So I'm up here now because this is the better side to be on. And now we can go the other direction.
All right.
So you can see how much space I took up there. Nothing. Not even
no.
barely the length of the bike.
Right.
So that's in a narrow trail, I could get this thing turned around. And the most important part of that is I didn't get off. I didn't have to drag it. I didn't have to do anything. It did all the work for me. So that's a very important lesson if you want to adventure ride.
Okay, well, another great lesson, and
well, tomorrow
it's almost time for me to get on this bike.
I don't know. I have to tell you, Grasshopper.
Yeah, you're enjoying.
I'm really, really attached to this bike now. So get your own bike and come and visit me.
Okay. Thanks, Don.
You're welcome.
Next, after soaking up the site of Woodstock 69, Norm and I wrap up our fall tour at an old apple cider mill in Watertown, New York. Stay tuned. Welcome back as TSN presents The Experience. I'm Dave Hatch, and it's time now for our final installment in this season's Ultimate Riding Tour Diary. Today, Norm and I are ready to call it a wrap just south of Watertown, New York. Last fall, Norm and I rode east out of Toronto, looking to spend a couple of days exploring the roads that dissect the Catskill Mountains, located about a 4-hour ride south of the Canadian border that splits the St. Lawrence River just east of Kingston, Ontario. Our ultimate destination was the site of the famous Woodstock concert back in 1969. Today, as we wind down our adventure, we're following Route 12 north out of Lowville, New York, and making one last stop just south of Watertown before calling it a wrap.
Well, Norm, here we are, the end of day 3 of a really amazing ride, and we're in Burrs Mills, just south of Watertown. And well, it's kind of appropriate. We're wrapping things up at another cider mill.
The Burrville Cider Mill. After having been at the distillery yesterday, now here we're at the cider company.
Speaking of yesterday, can you remember, it just seems like it's been a bit of a blur. Can you remember where we've been? It's been a blast.
Well, I think, I know where we've been, but I think definitely a highlight portion of the trip for me from the riding side of things was definitely the combination coming out of Orienta, the 28, the 1, the 30, the 206, the 17, the 55, all different roads, but all connected together. It was just a real enjoyable riding experience.
Well, for me, it had to be 97. That road was an absolute blast along the Delaware River there, and certainly getting an opportunity to check out the Bethel Woods and the Woodstock site, that was certainly a great destination and a highlight of the trip.
Definitely from the spots that we've stopped at to look at, it was definitely the highlight. I mean, standing where the stage was and looking up the hill and imagining all the festivities going on and just all the craziness, and it was just so cool.
Now, we have ridden coast to coast. We've also done some stuff stateside. This is probably our 4th trip stateside. Blue Ridge Parkway, the Dragon's Tail, the canyons out in California. Nobody really ever talks about the Catskills. Now, where would you rate it after all is said and done?
I would definitely rate it a top 5 region to plan to go to. All the other places have their own character and what they have to offer, but for motorcyclists, this has just been an incredible area to ride in, and the varying roads, the tight twisties, the medium-sized, hilly, big sweepers, the fast make-up time areas. It's just a wonderful area. You can spend 5 days in this region easily and stop at a lot of the things that we saw as we rode by, but 5 days, you would get a full experience of what the Catskills area has to offer.
Well, it's been an amazing journey. We've had everything from gray, cloudy, 0 degrees, rain, right through to today where it's suddenly 18 degrees and it's warm, and oh man, I can't wait to get back and have a look at some of the pictures we've taken, because it's just been an ultimate ride. I'm so glad we got to do this one.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Norm.
Thank you.
Now let's turn our attention to this season's contest giveaway. Here's Kylie to give you our 11th and final clue in our Honda Journo giveaway.
Thanks, Dave. Because we've been getting a lot of interest in scooters from viewers all across Canada, we thought we'd hold a contest where you could win my cool new Honda Journo scooter. Here's how the contest is going to work. Each week, we're going to answer some viewer mail about scooters, and you need to remember the subject. So this week, we have an email from Cameron McTanney from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. He says that his parents are worried about safety. Are scooters safe? Well, I understand your parents' concern, but most scooters, like this one, are designed with safety in mind. Scooters nowadays have large wheels. That's to help with those potholes. A lot of scooters now also have linked braking systems. Reach for one lever and get the stopping power of both the front and rear brakes. Some of the bigger scooters even have ABS brakes. Plus, as I mentioned in an earlier segment, scooters are easy to ride. No clutch, no gears, so you stay focused on the road, and that's safe. Excellent! So that's this week's contest key feature. Scooters are built to be safe. Now let's get right down to the nuts and bolts. How to enter the Keys to Kylie's Scooter contest. All you have to do is surf the Motorcycle Experience website and click on the Kylie's Keys link. Provide us with 3 key features or reasons for owning a scooter. Remember, every week I'm going to be giving you a key feature and you only need 3. So send those in and you'll be instantly entered into the draw to win the keys to my scooter, a brand new 2013 Honda Journo. Awesome. So next week we'll be drawing to see who wins the keys to a brand new Honda Journo scooter. So good luck everyone, and we'll see you next week.
All right, good luck everyone. Remember, next week we'll announce our winner in our contest giveaway. Still ahead, we'll head down to the Barber Museum in Birmingham, Alabama to take an up-close and personal look at a beautiful vintage triple. portions of Motorcycle Experience are brought to you in part by Honda Canada, BMW Motorrad, and Triumph Motorcycle. Welcome back as TSM presents The Experience. I'm Dave Hatch, and we'll wrap up our show now by taking a closer look at a BSA branded motorcycle that was produced by Triumph over a 7-year period starting back in 1968. This air-cooled 750cc triple was designed in Triumph's East Midlands factory. Right out of the gate, it was designed to be sold under both the Triumph and BSA marks. As a Triumph, it was known as a Trident, while BSA had the sexier Rocket 3 moniker. The triple-cylinder power plant was designed to give Triumph a broader model range, which up until this time was dominated by its 650cc parallel twin. Barber Museum technical consultant Brian Slark picks up the story in this week's Triumph Time Capsule.
The origin of the name Rocket 3, in 1968, the BSA Triumph Motorcycle Group, they were all owned by the same people, introduced a couple of super bikes, 750cc, and they were 3-cylinder, which is very, very unique. The Triumph was a Trident and the BSA was a Rocket 3. So that's the origin of the name, which we still use today. When they introduced the 3-cylinder motorcycles, the performance was so much superior to the twin-cylinder 750 motorcycles that it was a superbike. They coined the name superbike because of the speeds. It could do 120 mile an hour plus, which was pretty amazing in 1968, 1969, and that started the whole superbike theme. It was a pretty good bike at the time. Had 5-speed. Went to disc brakes later on. BSA made the Rocket 3 up to 1972. They went out of business, but the Trident went on to 1976. I think the speed, the performance, the acceleration, the quarter-mile times, the maximum speed, and also the sound of the exhaust, the howl of a 3-cylinder is very, very distinctive. That helps sales immensely. Very difficult to work on because there's a lot of pieces. I always told people if you're going to work on a Trident or a Rocket 3, you need 3 workbenches because there's a lot of pieces in the motor compared with the twin, because everybody was familiar with the single or the twin. They can be very good or very bad. And if you get a good one, it's a really nice motorcycle, a good classical motorcycle even today. It introduced 3 cylinders to a market, to a younger market that were interested in performance. And the Rocket 3, I mean, in that time, you know, we were in the space program, Rocket 3. It's kind of an exciting name. I mean, you could have a lot of dull names. The Rocket 3 still sounds pretty cool.
Amazingly, the Rocket 3 name lives on to today. Now known officially as the Triumph Rocket 3, this open-class big-bore cruiser was relaunched back in 2004 and now sports a very impressive liquid-cooled 2,294cc straight-3 engine.
Well, that's it for this week's program, folks. We're all out of time, but remember, next week we'll name the winner in our Honda Journo contest. Plus, we'll sample a brand new cruiser from the folks at Moto Guzzi. You don't want to miss that. So till then, keep your feet on the pegs and your right hand cranked. Bye for now.